Over the centuries, various houses and dynasties have sat atop the English throne. For better or worse, these families have garnered vast amounts of wealth, the likes of which the layperson can only dream of. With their roots embedded on the European mainland, specifically Germany, the current British royal family, the Windsors, have amassed vast wealth since coming to power. Before a tactical name change during World War I, the family was known as the House of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha after Queen Victoria married Prince Albert of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha in 1840, which was a little too German-sounding for King George. In hindsight, Britain's first Windsor monarch was wise to give the family a more English-sounding name during the early 20th century, as Britain and her allies went to war with the German Empire. Over the years, the power and influence of the British royal family have flourished like a well-watered garden, and their bank balance and property holdings are no different. Today, in 2023, the Windsor family boast a property portfolio the likes of which the Catholic Church would be proud of. Join us on a journey through time and extravagance as we explore the Windsor family's estates, which include some of the costliest jewels in the crown of British heritage. Ask any given adult from any random country on earth the name of the British royal family's residence, and they will inevitably, almost automatically reply, Buckingham Palace. A majestic, sprawling central London mansion, the property serves as a beacon for tourists who are looking for that quintessential snippet of English culture. King George III initially acquired the land it sits on in the 1760s and purchased the property for his lady wife, Queen Charlotte. Since then, successive monarchs have maintained and restored the distinguished property, and these days it serves as the proverbial jewel in the crown of the Windsor family's estate. But did you know the property actually boasts a hidden swimming pool? Talk about luxury. Of course, putting a price on such a magnificent property is complex. Royal commentators mostly agree that even if King Charles III wanted to sell, he could not consider its status as the centerpiece of the Crown estate. Should Charles decide to channel his inner salesman, however, then rough estimates suggest he could demand somewhere in the neighborhood of £4 billion for the palace and its grounds, which would go a long way towards the upkeep of some of the Windsor's other equally extravagant residences. Now let's turn our attention to another prominent royal dwelling. Like the proverbial art collector with a room full of classics, the Windsor family own a slew of historical landmarks across the British Isles, the oldest and perhaps most majestic of the collection being Windsor Castle. Taking its name from the family that currently calls it home, the remarkable Berkshire stronghold has been associated with British royals for well over 1,000 years. Windsor Castle is the world's oldest and largest continuously inhabited castle, having stood since the days of William the Conqueror. The cultural significance of Windsor cannot and should not be underestimated, considering it served as the royal household during World War II. The property's medieval secrets, including underground chambers and hidden tunnels, were crucial in keeping the royals safe during the war. When fire broke out in 1992, panic was the order of the day as aristocrats, and the Windsors themselves feared the worst. After 15 hours, the raging inferno was eventually controlled, and emergency services salvaged what they could. Shortly after, the estate pumped around £36.5 million to restore the old castle to its former glory. These days, it is thought that the grand alderman of the royal estate, located just a short drive from Buckingham, is worth around £500 million. Let's delve into what was widely regarded as Queen Elizabeth's favourite estate. The Aberdeenshire hideaway of Balmoral proudly holds that honour, and it's easy to see why. Just over an hour's flight from London, the property hasn't been in the royal portfolio all that long compared to some of the other stalwarts in His Majesty's collection. But what's the backstory to all this? The Scottish baronial-style dwelling, which Queen Victoria purchased in the 1850s, is one of the few properties privately owned by the Windsor and not the Crown outright. Traditionally used as a summer retreat for consecutive monarchs, the estate sprawls across 50,000 acres like a luxurious green tapestry. Mealtimes are a particular highlight of Balmoral. Picture a candlelit banquet in the opulent dining hall, where silverware glistens under crystal chandeliers and renowned chefs show off their skills to delight the royal palate. For years, the royals have participated in the traditional Highland games known as the Daring Gathering, where they are often spotted sporting the local tartan. When compared to the other more apparent properties in the royal repertoire, Balmoral appears to be something of a sapphire in a sea of diamonds. However, it would still set you back about £140 million were you to test King Charles's resolve and make a bid for the property. Our next stop takes us south to Sandringham House in Norfolk, just a few hours away from the King's primary residence in London. This is where generations of royals have chosen to spend Christmas, also showing their human side by attending Christmas Mass in the nearby village. Whilst the roots of the surrounding area can be traced back to the Roman times, Sandringham itself was only built towards the end of the 19th century, but do not let this distract from its allure and charm. The estate is a regal jewel boasting stately facades and verdant lawns, stretching as far as the eye can see like the most majestic of oceans. Lakes mirroring the cerulean sky are abundant in this delightful pocket of the English countryside, and this sanctuary of British refinement offers solace to whichever member of the British royal family chooses to rest their weary bodies here. The house is so entrenched in royal life that not one but two monarchs spent their final days there. Both George V and his son George VI, who ascended to the throne after his brother Edward VIII abdicated to marry American socialite Wallis Simpson, passed away at the residence. So what else do the royals boast in their impressive collection? A couple of duchies and a myriad of smaller estates are littered throughout the royal portfolio, often ruled by dukes or duchesses. Duchies hark back to the days of feudal and aristocratic governance systems, and were often given to elite members who ranked just below the monarchy as a means of control. Giving a man or woman a big house in the country, and they are less likely to be part of a plot to overthrow the regime, would have been the line of thinking. Britain is littered with these small feudal estates, which you will have seen in various TV shows and movies. Historically, they were used as a base for the duke or duchess to rule from. The geographical area of governance would vary widely from place to place. Often they encompassed a large province, but in some instances they could rule neighboring counties or even smaller territories. As you might imagine, these duchies were, and still are in most cases, hereditary, and were a way for the crown to maintain order in faraway places. We must remember that this system was designed when messages could take days to arrive, so the royals needed a plan to ensure their interests were best served. Taking the two most well-known duchies as an example, the Duchy of Lancaster and the Duchy of Cornwall will give us a better understanding of just how valuable these land holdings can be. At the beginning of 2023, it was estimated that the Duchy of Lancaster was worth somewhere in the region of £640 million, including all of the assets under its control. However, this pales compared to the veritable goldmine the Windsors are sitting on due south. The Duchy of Cornwall, currently in possession of Prince William after it was handed down to him following his father's ascension to the throne, is thought to be worth more than double that of its Lancastrian sibling at around £1.5 billion. This leads us to the Crown's impressive urban portfolio. As well as its fantastic collection of castles and stately homes, Regent Street, the famed London thoroughfare which appears on the world-renowned game Monopoly, is entirely owned by the Windsors. In a surprising turn of events, it might intrigue you to learn that the Crown owns virtually all of the UK's seabed to 12 nautical miles offshore. This and other marine holdings mean the Windsor family is heavily involved in various offshore energy programs. With all its lands and holdings, the Crown estate is considered worth an incredible £34 billion in the region, making it one of the most impressive portfolios. The majestic grand estates of the Windsor family are viewed by most as landmarks of vast cultural and historical importance, and there are various lessons we can take from this. The Windsors have proved that despite what some detractors say, it is possible to balance tradition and modernity whilst moving with the times. They have been doing so for some time. In a move showing just how committed they are to the cause, Prince Charles purchased Highgrove House and its surrounding land back in 1980. He then proceeded to turn it into a model of sustainability. This proves that just because someone lives a luxurious lifestyle doesn't automatically disqualify them from caring. The sprawling mosaic of the Crown's land holdings is a testament to hundreds of years of culture and heritage. As we have meandered through this exploration of wealth and luxury, we have uncovered the true significance of these estates and touched upon some of the human stories that make the royal family who they are, reminding us of their enduring legacy. So the next time you find yourself admiring the grandeur of one of their estates, you will now understand some of the riches they hold in terms of wealth and legacy. Which royal residence fascinated you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more captivating glimpses into the world of old money luxe.